Jeff, would you say this is your 10th one? Is that what I heard?
Only 5.
All right. Moving on. Good afternoon. The board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units is now being called to order. Today's in-person meeting is also being held virtually via video conference, with the proceedings live streamed from the Port Authority website. On June 4th, the Audit and Finance Committee met in an executive session. Earlier today, the Committee on Operations met in both public session and executive session. Their reports will be filed with the official minutes of today's board meeting. The Commissioners also met in executive session earlier today to discuss matters related to the security or public safety, matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the value thereof, or the public interest, matters related to personnel or personnel procedures, and to discuss and act upon matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals. For the first order of business, I ask for a moment of silence to remember a member of the Port Authority family who passed earlier this month, Eric Lazachko, a chief maintenance supervisor who had 13 years of service. I ask us to stand for a moment to observe a moment of silence in Eric's memory. Thank you, and we keep Eric and his family in our prayers, and we wish them very well. At this point, we're going to ask for our executive director to provide his report. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since we last met, has been a busy period in the Port Authority. I'll begin by covering the June volumes as well as mentioning several other milestones. But before I start, I would like to again thank the nearly 8,000 employees who work for the Port Authority, who are responsible for actually serving the public in keeping our operations safe, sound, and efficient, and who also assure that passengers in our facilities and individuals who use our facilities are safe. We also express our gratitude to the two-thirds of our employees who are union-related, who are union represented, and we appreciate and express our appreciation to the leaders of those unions for the hard work that they perform and for the partnership of the unions that represent them. I'd also like to make note that the 123rd class of the Port Authority Police Department graduated this past Friday. The chairman and I attended it, along with a multitude of the other police executives, and we congratulate those 71 new officers and wish them the best in their careers at the Port Authority Police Department. Turning to our facility volumes, in May 2025, passenger volumes at our airports were overall approximately 7% below May of last year. That reduction was driven by a sharp monthly decline at Newark Liberty, but the May volumes dramatically varied from airport to airport. At Newark Liberty, passenger volumes were 20% below May of 2024. That decline was largely the result of flight delays and cancellations that have been widely reported due to air traffic control issues as well as some poor weather. And finally, the FAA's imposition of limits on the number of flights coming into the Newark airspace, which were announced on May 20th, all as a result of the challenges that the FAA is facing in terms of its air traffic control equipment and staffing challenges. At LaGuardia, by contrast, passenger volumes remained extremely strong, just slightly below the record LaGuardia hit in May of last year. It was about a 1% difference. May 2025 was the third busiest month of May, on record for LaGuardia, just as I said, slightly behind both 2024 and 2023, which set records. At JFK, May 2025, passenger levels broke the record set last year, and this May was the busiest month of May on record for John F. Kennedy Airport. It was just a whisker, but it was above by 1%, by 0.1%, May of 2024. Very strong volumes. At the seaport turned in a strong performance in May 2025 with volumes within 2% of May of 2024 and outpacing pre-pandemic May 2019 volumes by 20%. Month over month, from April 25, April of this year to May of this year, volumes increased by 3%. And it is important to note that for the month of May of this year, the Port of New York and New Jersey was the busiest port in the nation. Bridges and tunnels. Traffic in May 2025 on the agency's 4 bridges and 2 tunnels increased by 0.4 of a percentage point compared to May 2024, last year, and marking the first month of this year where 2025 monthly volumes exceeded 2024 monthly volumes. Volumes in the month of May were primarily driven by automobile traffic, which was 0.5 of a percentage point above 2024. Direct comparisons between 24 and 25 traffic levels require the study of additional data over time to understand the influence and the relationship between the impacts of weather, economic outlook, other events in the country, and congestion pricing. PATH ridership in May of 2025 was 75% of pre-pandemic May 2019 levels, and overall PATH traffic was 7% higher than May 2024. So PATH is gradually increasing its ridership. But PATH, when you look at it carefully, it was really a tale of two cities. Weekend ridership was 12% higher than pre-pandemic 2019 levels, and the ridership ranked among the highest volumes for any month of May. Weekday PATH ridership, in contrast, was down by 29% versus 2019. So we are seeing extraordinarily strong passenger traffic on the weekends, while the weekday PATH ridership is holding steady at about 70% of 2019. In terms of, since our last meeting, Commissioners, on real progress on both Phase 1 of the bus terminal replacement project and the Newark station access project. On May 29th, the Port Authority was joined by Governor Hochul and by Governor Murphy to break ground on the first phase of the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Project. And today, the board will hear about the major next step in progress on the bus terminal replacement project, and it will hear a detailed report on the station access project. Also, since we last met, on June 3rd, a historic milestone was reached when the first all-electric aircraft landed at one of the Port Authority's 3 major airports, specifically at JFK. The all-electric aircraft was developed by an advanced air mobility company, Beta Technologies, and this aircraft is one of the first to receive an interim certification by the FAA. We will continue to be a leader in working with this new technology. Also, since we last met on June 16th, the agency launched the PATH Reduced Fares program, which will provide eligible riders with disabilities with a 50% fare reduction. At Port Newark earlier this month, the agency, Port Newark Container Terminal, PNCT, and the City of Newark announced the completion of a 7.2 megawatt solar installation at Port Newark. This completion of that installation is another step forward in the agency's aggressive solar agenda, which will facilitate the 2050 net zero goal. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my report.
Thank you very much, Rick. Just one issue that you talked about, Rick, was the graduating class of 123 for the police academy, the police recruits. We were in the audience with Commissioner Eve and a lot of the senior staff, and we've done that a few times, Rick, but I will tell you, it's really an awesome ceremony to see these recruits, now officers, do this very grueling, very demanding 24-week program. And you see a video of what they go through in terms of the physical, in terms of the mental, in terms of, being tested, whether it's driving or swimming or pepper spray or handling, one-on-one combat. Really extraordinary. And the sacrifice that they take to be part of this Port Authority family is extraordinary. Interesting to note that of the 71 recruits, now officers, 31 of them had gone through the academy before for another agency, mostly with the NYPD. But they thought so well of the Port Authority that they wanted to go through the academy again, which is grueling, to want to join this agency. And I do want to say to the superintendent at Setinar, your academy staff, exceptionally well done. Really, it's as good as it gets. Greg Erie, staff, the supervision, exceptional. And the next time we have a class, whether it's in 26 or 27, I would ask the commissioners to take the time and go there and just see this level of commitment. And it is a really cool ceremony to see the families. Commissioner Eve, are you on the line? Because I know you were there as the chair of security. I know you took it all in. If you have any comments, this would be an appropriate time. All right, she'll weigh in later. But again, congratulations, job well done. Thank you. At this point, we're going to move on to hear our Chief of Major Capital Projects, Stephen Plate, present an item that would authorize an important next step in the Port Authority's commitment to develop a new bus terminal in Midtown. We're going to defer voting, and I'll defer my comments until we are past the speaker's program. Following Steve's presentation, we have a short video of the Dyer Avenue deck over construction groundbreaking ceremony, which is really the kickoff, which was held earlier this month with its first major contract underway. And then we will hear from the folks on the public, and then we'll vote for this, probably one of the most single important votes that we will ever face on our tenure on the Port Authority. Steve, welcome.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioners. I'm here to update you on the bus terminal replacement project. This graphic shows the overall view of the new Midtown bus terminal, stretching from 8th Avenue all the way to 11th Avenue. Today's request focuses on Phase 1 of the overall project. Phase 1 includes those areas outlined by the yellow dashed line. It includes ramps, an interim terminal, which eventually will become a storage and staging facility, as well as the Dyer deck overs that the chairman just referenced. This phase of the project will be the next step in replacing the outdated 75-year-old bus terminal and provide our commuters and local community the world-class transportation facility that they deserve. Today, I'm here to request authorization in the amount of $4.8 billion for the construction of Phase 1 of the Midtown Bus Terminal project. This authorization includes the award of a contract to Tutor Perini at a construction cost of $1.871 billion to construct the core and shell of the new facility and associated ramps. Additional construction to be carried out at an additional cost subject to further competitive bidding via specialized construction packaging for the remainder of the facilities. In addition, other professional support services to deliver the project, including the continuation of architectural services provided by Foster and Epstein and program management services provided by LBG HNTB joint venture. All of these contracts are federally compliant. Commissioners, thank you for your unwavering support of this significant regional transportation project. Thank you.
I'll roll the video.
You know, 75 years ago, the Port Authority bus station opened its doors. Looks like it, doesn't it? We can do better. We must do better. This is about our image. Thank you to Kevin O'Toole, our chairman of the Port Authority, who's had to overcome so many challenges, and I respect him immensely. Rick Cotton, who comes to me with the most brilliant ideas, and I always say, Rick, you had me at hello. And then who's going to build it? I know who's going to build it. Gary LaBarbera and his men and women are going to build it.
It is a real treat to be here. It is an incredible honor to be back in Midtown Manhattan to mark the beginning, as Kathy said, of a new era in transportation for New Jersey, for New York, and our entire region. We're also incredibly grateful for the Port Authority, Chairman Kevin O'Toole and all of his colleagues on the Board of Commissioners. With us today from the Jersey side, Joe Kelly and Mayor Chris Bolwich, along with the Port's Executive Director, Rick Cotton, and his extraordinary team. It is time for a much needed upgrade and overhaul. And that's exactly why this transformational project to fully replace ultimately the Midtown bus terminal is so important.
During 1944, Mayor LaGuardia asked the Port Authority, you got to build a bus terminal. It's too important. This region, this area, New York, New Jersey, you have to build the bus terminal. So true to form, Port Authority answered the call. And the reason it's going to get done is because we have exceptional, once-in-a-generational leader, Rick Cotton, who's going to make sure we get it done in less than 10 years. I will tell you, Governor Hochul, and I committed to Governor Murphy, in less than 10 years. I want to thank my fellow commissioners, first of all, Kelly and Bolwich and LaBarbera, and most importantly, my vice chair, Jeff Linford, and represents the Port Authority answering the call one more time. Thank you.
Both governors have recognized that this project has needed to be done for decades, and it has simply not gotten done. We are here to put a shovel in the ground for the first stage of construction, the deck openings. We are able to celebrate this moment because we adhere to those two basic propositions, addressing the needs of commuters and of the community. And I also have to thank, as the chairman did, the senior staff and all of the staff at the Port Authority who have worked literally on this phase of the plan. Many of them have worked for multiple decades.
This organization, this agency, this authority is outstanding. The people that run the authority, the people that, all of the staff, outstanding. And this authority's commitment to, as Rick Cotton and Kevin say all the time, best in class. This is a very, very significant moment in time. It is in my opinion, a transformative moment for this community, for the ridership, and for the economy in Hell's Kitchen. I guarantee both governors that the tradesmen and women that work on this project and build this project will be and are best in class. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you.
I was going to save for the voting portion, but I think Gary LaBarbera got me all juiced up here, so I'm going to say a few words. Listen, I've been on this board now for 8 years. I've served in the state legislature for 22 years, served locally 7 years. I've been involved in public service for, collectively 40 years. I will tell you that today is probably one of the most proud moments that I have had as a public servant. I think this is one of the most important projects I've ever been allowed to work on or help or assist. This bus terminal has been talked about for 20 years. When I came here 8 years ago, there was nothing but confusion, denial, saboteurs who didn't want to get this thing done, or folks who just didn't understand the need to have this bus terminal reimagined, rebuilt. It is really the heart and the core that keeps New York and New Jersey and the economies that are attached to them functioning. It really is the heart of this New York, New Jersey economy, and it connects us all. And I will tell you that we went from 8 years where the folks around this bus terminal absolutely rejected the notion of having it built in place. And because of the amazing work done by, first of all, under the leadership of Rick, he made it very clear. If there wasn't buy-in from everybody, community boards, local elected officials, the governors, this was not going to be moving forward. And it went from very few people in favor, and after 300 or 400 meetings by our GoCore people and Steve and Lillian and all of our folks, everybody has buy-in. So today that we are really at this moment, a historic moment, that we're going to be voting in a moment or two on the literal reimagined bus terminal. And I just have to say, the folks who have been doing this, I mean, Lillian, you've been at this for a long time. This is probably, in the 50 years, the biggest project that you have ever done. It's exceptional. Steve, 40 years on the job at the Port Authority as of June 10th. I can't imagine there's a bigger project that you've been a part of. And it goes beyond that, whether it's Alan Reese or whether it's Amy. We talked about your legal counsel and extraordinary job by the folks who have been doing this for a long time. Libby, I know Libby's the glass half empty sometimes, but Libby, I know you want this project. Libby, you've been exceptional in making sure that we're going to be able to do it and fund the project. Exceptional job. Diane Eller, who's been the commander-in-chief of the buses and terminals and bridges twice over. Exceptional. You know, this really represents, this is a culmination of the work for the last 70 years that people have done at the Port Authority on the bus terminal since 1950. The 300,000 people who come in every day and more. This is a vote for the future, and I can't think of a more critical vote that I took, whether I was on the floor in Trenton or I was a mayor of a little town in Cedar Grove or as a commissioner or chair of the board. This vote that I'll be taking today is probably the proudest vote, the easiest vote, the most significant vote, the most consequential vote that I've ever taken in 40 years of public service. And I can't thank the Port Authority employees who have made this day possible. And 10 years and 20 years from now, when we look down and see this thing done on time, under budget, as I'm told, this will be one of the proud accomplishments that we as the board could say we've done something positive in our life. And I got to say to Gary LaBarbera, who is just unbelievable resource, and I have called upon him and his expertise. Gary has been the warrior in trying to educate us and have us understand how we can get this project in a manner which is affordable, it's doable, and it's going to be something we're going to be proud of. State-of-the-art bus terminal that people will not be making fun of on the late night shows. They'll be saying, we're proud that we're in New York, New Jersey. We're proud to be a part of the Port Authority. And as we close that video, I got to say, I couldn't be more proud as a commissioner here. I couldn't be more proud as a resident of Cedar Grove, a resident of New Jersey, that we are part of something really, really cool. And I want to thank everybody for their participation. And if you want to save your comments, Vice Chair, for the vote, or you want to now? You'll save them for now? Okay. I'm sorry I filibustered, but I just was overcome with an emotion of watching that video. I thought it was just a cool video that was put together.
How can I follow you?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Gary.
Chairman, this is
LaBarbera.
Commissioner LaBarbera.
Yes.
May I?
Yes, please
through
do.
the chair, just address the public.
Yes.
Thank you. First of all, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for your undaunting leadership on this clearly transformative project at this transformative moment. I also want to thank Rick Cotton for his leadership day to day in the grind, making things happen for the Port Authority. I'd also like to thank the entire team. You've mentioned many names at the Port Authority. And I want to say, I will tell you, and this is to the public, that this project will be transformative, but the team at the Port Authority is nothing short of exceptional. And I have never been prouder to be a part of a project, and I've been part of many, many projects over many, many decades. I've never been more proud to be a part of a project such as the new bus terminal. And I want to thank everyone again for everything that they have done at the Port Authority. This is significant not only to New York and New Jersey, but regionally. And as I said in the video, this will create and stir economic development and job opportunities beyond our wildest dreams. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Gary. And the last person I have to thank is my chief, Peter Simon, who's been absolutely a workhorse, in every meeting, handling all the incoming for 8 years. Exceptional job, Peter. Thank you very much. At this stage, we're going to, unless anyone wants to speak, we're going to move to our next item. We're now going to hear from our Director of Aviation of Redevelopment, Jackie McCarthy, to provide an update on the Newark Liberty International Airport Train Station Access Improvement Project. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to provide an update on the Newark Station Access Project today. This project is incredibly important to the Port Authority, as well as our airport neighbors in the cities of Newark and Elizabeth. When the Port Authority opened the AirTrain NEC station complex back in 2001, the facility was constructed only for airport users connecting via New Jersey Transit or Amtrak. What does that mean? It essentially means that although the station is located in the South Ward of Newark, the residents who can see and hear the station literally from their homes are unable to access it and instead have to take 2 or more buses to get to the airport. But now we're fixing that by extending the pedestrian bridge and creating a multimodal hub for public access. This will allow the residents of the South Ward and North Elizabeth to get to the airport directly, or alternatively, to have a single-seat ride to Jersey City or Manhattan for employment, education, leisure, etc. The construction broke ground this month on June 13th and is targeted to be completed and operational by Q4 2026. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my Senior Program Director, Ralph DiPuzzo, who's ushering this into reality.
Thank you, Jackie. Good afternoon, members of the board, Executive Director Cotton, Chairman O'Toole. At its core, this project is about improving airport and transit access for underserved communities in Newark, South Ward, as well as North Elizabeth, in addition to expanding public transit options for airport customers and airport employees commuting to Newark Airport. Shown in light blue on this image is the existing AirTrain alignment, Newark AirTrain at Newark Airport. It ties into the Newark Airport station shown in dark blue, and that currently serves the Northeast Corridor line, which is shown in red here. Depicted in yellow is what we're here to discuss, a new multimodal access point just west of the existing Northeast Corridor, or NEC Airport Station. The facility will be accessible from Frelinghuysen Avenue, shown in gray here on the left, or also known as New Jersey Route 27. This is a view from the west showing how the existing NEC Airport Station abruptly stops at Amtrak's westernmost Track 5, as Jackie points out, without any connectivity to the surrounding community. That was due to the FAA regulation restrictions at the time it was built. This project changes that by extending that bridge to the west, over the last track, and down onto the newly acquired property that you see here shaded in blue. The site design is shown here with our new 16,000 square foot temperature-controlled, ADA accessible station facility and bridge extension shown in white on the right side of the image, connecting to the existing facility in gray. The 5.7 acre campus is accessed from Frelinghuysen Avenue on the very left through a newly designed traffic intersection leading to an interior loop and pickup drop-off island dedicated to New Jersey Transit buses, and an outer loop serving personal, for hire, and taxis for as well as a short-term cell phone lot on the site. In addition to green space, a new flashing beacon crosswalk is featured to ensure safe access onto dedicated walking or bicycle paths to the new facility. Shown here are illustrative renderings of the interior of the facility. On the left is a view of the entryway at grade as you approach the fare gates, with the escalators and elevators in the background. On the right is a view looking west on the pedestrian bridge level, highlighting the natural light, open flow, and real-time information displays. Regarding the many project and community benefits, this project will provide an additional public access point for users of the airport and opportunities to spur airport-related businesses and transit-oriented airport development around the NEC station, adding economic value to the airport. It'll break down existing barriers for the neighboring communities to jobs and transit services. It'll provide Newark and Elizabeth communities with the following: a new one-seat ride to Midtown Manhattan via New Jersey Transit or Amtrak. It'll connect to PATH at Newark Penn Station for direct service to Jersey City and downtown Manhattan, or to Hoboken and Midtown Manhattan. It'll also speed access via AirTrain to the airport, reducing what is a 40-minute journey today from Dayton to less than 10 minutes. And finally, it will speed access from Dayton to Newark Penn Station from a 40-minute bus ride today to under 10 minutes on the New Jersey Transit train. The project is expected to generate over 675 jobs, both direct and indirect, $125 million in direct wages, and nearly $300 million in total economic activity. The Port Authority kicked off construction with a groundbreaking ceremony 2 weeks ago on June 13th at the project site. Local community organizations and elected officials, including U.S. Representative LaMonica McIver of New Jersey State Senate Majority Leader Teresa Ruiz, and Newark Mayor Ras Baraka were in attendance to help celebrate this critical milestone. Thank you all for supporting this important project.
Thank you very much. And listen, this is one of the most meaningful projects. I've heard from Commissioner Bolwich, and I've heard from the leaders in the South Ward in Newark that, these folks who have to take up to 2 buses to get to the airport, and it's an extra 30 minutes each way if they're going to go from the South Ward or northern part of Elizabeth or Irvington. It takes them up to 40 minutes, as you indicated, one way and 40 minutes back. Once this Newark Access is online, fourth quarter 2026, they're going to save an hour going to a day. Either going to work or school or seeing family or doing whatever they're doing in terms of their commute. It is so meaningful, and I know the presentation, I think was it Jackie who said this was long overdue. The people of New Jersey, of Essex County, and of Union County deserve this. This opens up the opportunities to go on Amtrak, goes on the PATH, they go on New Jersey Transit, and literally they could see the airport, but it takes them 40 minutes to get there. When this is done, it'll take them 7 minutes to get there. So extraordinarily impactful. Job well done. I can't wait for this to be done and delivered. Appreciate it. All righty, moving ahead. We're now going to provide for an opportunity of the members of the public to comment on Port Authority matters. This public comment period, which may be limited to 30 minutes in total, provides an opportunity for members of the public to present their views directly to the board, but does not provide for a dialogue back and forth. Members of the public wishing to discuss a specific item with the Port Authority staff are asked to please contact the Public Affairs Department, and they will be directed accordingly. Speakers are asked to comply with a fixed 3 minutes so we can try to get everybody in today. All righty, first speaker is Donna Jackson. Is Donna here? Okay, Murray Bowden. Welcome, Murray. Take your time, Murray. Can somebody help with the microphone, please, Murray? Thanks, Greg.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Today's presentation is brought to you by Iran and the New York City mayoral race. When there's a problem, it has to be solved. Can't wait. Two unusual things happen. You have a new board member who's the commissioner of transportation for the state of New York, completely incompetent. To put her on this board is a major mistake. New York State, she's responsible for keeping the lines and the signs up to code. I've been working on this for years. She knows it, and I've done this at another meeting. Safety requires consistency of lines and code and signs. It's not happening. So to put her on this board is a major mistake in safety and finances. Likewise, the Port Authority has ignored my suggestions about adequate signage and road markings at LaGuardia, causing traffic to back up unnecessarily, accidents. And that's the responsibility of Rick Cotton. And he knows that I've been doing this, trying to get the lines better on for safety and other reasons at LGA. And so it's your responsibility as a board to recognize that the world has changed and get yourself a new executive director. He was good when he was good. I was good when I was good too. My mind's failing, so is my body, but I have a responsibility to my grandchildren. My email has always been concerned grandfather. It still is. Only at the bottom it says, trust nothing I say, check it out yourself. Rick, you did a good job for a lot of years. So did I. Time for us to move on.
Next one, we'll hear from John McKeefe, or Keith McKeefe. I'm sorry if I got that. And as you come up to the microphone, let me just say, look, this is an opportunity for folks to be heard constructively on issues that are germane to the Port Authority. And I really would ask the public not to go after a commissioner, staff. We're going to keep it at a very high level. Please respect us, and we certainly respect you. John, welcome.
Didn't plan on anything else.
It wasn't meant to you. Don't worry about it.
So my name is John McKee. I go by Jack, friends, family. Everyone knows me as that. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Jack McKee. As I said, I'm a resident of Jersey City, and I'm here with Hudson County Complete Streets. My statement concerns the PATH train. Mr. Chairman, I heard your statement about the PA bus terminal and the most recent project that was just discussed at EWR. The pride it brings, the importance that it holds, the sense that it is a good thing for future generations. I share your feelings on the terminal and echo those feelings for PATH. I preface my request by acknowledging the ongoing Path Forward project, the complexity of simultaneously maintaining and operating a transit system, budgetary challenges, red tape, and physical realities that can't be ignored. If you have to replace tracks, you can't run a train on it. I'm not oblivious to those things. All that said, off-peak path service remains insufficient for the people it serves. And none of the reasons I just listed changes our needs. It doesn't meet our needs. We're not off-peak people, and we don't have off-peak lives. It's more than an inconvenience. It affects our quality of life and our household's bottom line. We spend extra on childcare, meals, and ride shares when our day is too important to risk being late. We miss experiences with loved ones, that extra hour of sleep, and time doing hobbies that fulfill us. We feel stressed and unsafe when we see jammed-packed cars and dangerously crowded stations. Current path service is also a bottleneck to the economic growth in Jersey City, Harrison, Newark. But more than locations or GDP, I'm here to talk about the people that path serves. What we're asking for, path riders, and me specifically, Jack McKee, is an improvement to my quality of life. I'm asked the what is my quality of life, the how is improved off-peak weekday path service. I acknowledge the weekend service that, has limitations to what you can offer. So what am I asking for? I'm asking for more time with my partner, more meals that we cook at home together. I'm looking for you to give 20 minutes to my buddy Joe so he can go for a run with me instead of waiting on Path. And Path Riders as a community are asking for safety, comfort, and predictability so we can plan our lives just a little bit better. I know there is no magic wand, but the PA can commit to prioritizing the lives of Path Riders in 3 simple ways. 1, improve off-peak weekday service. 2, make the results of rider surveys easily accessible so our community can know our neighbors' needs. And 3, commit to prioritizing Path when the budget process starts in the fall. I am sympathetic to your position on the board. You manage numerous complex systems, and there's no world in which everyone is singing your praises. Simply put, I wouldn't want your jobs, but decisions have to be made. Thanks for your time.
Jack, thanks for your comments. Appreciate it. Colleen Frank?
Good afternoon, members of the Port Authority Board and PATH leadership. Thank you for allowing me a moment to speak on my behalf and on the behalf of countless daily riders who depend on the PATH system for school, work, and basic life. I'm here to talk about service and safety. I've lived in the New York Metro for over 26 years and in Jersey City for the last 10. I've seen the population along the PATH lines grow rapidly in recent years as Jersey City, Hoboken, and Newark are booming. Yet the service levels, especially on the weekends and during off-peak hours, have not kept pace. Trains are sometimes infrequent, delays are common, and station platforms and trains can be dangerously overcrowded. Even during weekday rush hours, I've had to let 2, 3, sometimes more trains go by just to be able to shove on and get on a train that's still overcrowded. On weekends and evenings, the situation becomes not just inconvenient, but hazardous at times. The crush of passengers, combined with the growing number of e-bikes and large strollers brought onto trains with no designated storage areas, creates blocked aisles, exit routes that pose serious evacuation risks, especially in the event of an emergency. And beyond the physical strain, there's been a cultural shift since the pandemic. Before then, the PATH system, though not perfect, offered a level of courtesy to riders that stood out from other MTA transit lines, seats being offered to pregnant individuals or people in need, people removing backpacks. There was a general level of respect on trains before the pandemic, on the PATH specifically. But with the decline in service, I've seen a big rise in rider frustrations, verbal hostilities, a general erosion of public behavior on trains, and the lack of consistent, reliable service is directly fueling commuter anger and discomfort on trains. Lastly, we need better and real coordination between PATH police and local authorities. Riders like me need to feel safe and supported, not abandoned during chaotic or threatening situations. Emergency response coordination between PATH police and local authorities remains inconsistent, leaving riders without reliable help when needed, even when I've tried to call 911 with erratic individuals on platforms. No one shows up. Sometimes no one even answers the calls. There was an occasion, where I was followed in the Oculus, asked someone to help. There was no police to go on the train at night, so I stepped off the train so this person could not follow me, and I got to wait another half an hour to get home even later. We're not asking for miracles. We're just asking for a return to basic functionality, frequent trains, safe cars, safe platforms, and a culture of civility restored by investment in service and safety. And I'd love a timeline of when this might happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Hannah Radham? Hannah? Okay. David Saporta? I'm sure I murdered your name. I'm sorry if I did.
All right. Yeah, that's correct.
Hey, David.
So, good afternoon. I'm here to deliver a clear and uncompromising message. The PATH system, as it stands today, is failing the public it was built to serve. This is not just inconvenience. It is a systematic failure Hudson County, Newark, and Lower Manhattan do not operate on a 9-to-5 schedule anymore. PATH still does. I live near Hoboken Station. During midday on a weekday, if I miss a train by a minute, I wait 15. That is a difference between a 15-minute and a 30-minute commute. In one of the most transit-reliant regions of the country, this is unacceptable. In the Newark to World Trade Center line, 20-minute headways. That's not a metro system. It's a commuter rail in disguise. And weekends are even worse. There is no Hoboken to World Trade Center service on the weekends. A trip that should take 11 minutes becomes an overcrowded two-transfer ordeal. Wait 20 minutes for a train to Journal Square, then 20 more at Grove Street. Trains are packed like sardines. A basic journey becomes a 60-minute frustration. It is indefensible. The Journal Square to 33rd Street line via Hoboken also adds 20 unnecessary minutes. The tunnel crawl, the wait at Hoboken, the crush of passengers. It is all outdated. This is what you're offering in 2025 and in the busiest regions of the country. Late night service, 40-minute headways are not coverage, they're abandonment. The MTA subway, even with its flaws, runs 15 to 20-minute headways late at night. PATH has no excuse to fall this far behind with trains this jam-packed and, like Director Cotton said, higher weekend ridership than before the pandemic. And let's talk about connectivity. It's completely unacceptable there's still no cell service in the PATH tunnels. Nearly every major metro system, Philadelphia, DC, London, Paris, all have full 5G service in the tunnels, not just stations, the tunnels. Riders rely on that connection for safety, work, and communication. PATH is falling behind badly. Here is what must happen as soon as possible. Or all 4 lines must run 7 days a week. 10-minute headways must be the baseline. Daytime, evening, weekday, weekend, late night service must be fixed. 40-minute waits are a failure. Cell service should be implemented system-wide as soon as possible. I get the path forward is necessary. Of course, like the tracks are very old and we need to fix them. But it cannot be used as an excuse. When it's done, service reform must follow. No delays, no debate. You have the riders, you have the infrastructure, you have the responsibility. What's lacking is the will. That must change now. We are not asking for a favor. We are demanding a reliable, modern transit system we've already paid for. It is time to deliver. Thank you.
William George? William George? Okay. Deborah, welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been compromised. I've been killed sciatic.
I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be back. I asked one thing. One thing I'm not putting this as a complaint. I want you just, if I had been with the MTA the whole time I had been home ill, I was able to go on all the committees with virtually, and then during the public session I could speak. Of course, I had to sign up, and I had to follow the timeline, which I did. So what I'm asking is if we can do that for many of us, because certain days of the weather, I wanted to come, I couldn't walk because of the cold. No, I was not contagious, but when you can't walk or sit comfortably either in a wheelchair or the seat, you have to stay home. Okay, the other thing is I've been asked to give a message from Jason Anthony, who sends his regards. He said, and I even saw it in the Port Authority as well as we see at the Jamaica Station. I'm trying to be compassionate. I understand about people who are homeless. What I'm asking is if that the Port Authority police with the MTA police and the local police work as a team together with the homeless services. So both states, New Jersey and New York, they can get these people the help they need and not inconvenience the riders. Another thing, we accidentally, Ann and I went into New Jersey. And I think you should be aware, and I hope it can be cleaned, but when we tried to get up on the elevator, we couldn't, the smell was like I was inside a bathroom. And people were having accidents. I would appreciate if we can do something, because people think that it's okay to use the elevators, and they do this at the MTA too. So I don't want anyone thinking I'm only picking on, no. They do this to people with disabilities. You know how many times my son has called in for there's an elevator when you go at Times Square? I'm not talking about the old one, there's a newer one. They love using it as a bathroom. I don't know how many times he's reported it. Jason's reported it, even I report it. Because I pay my fare. And I feel that I should have I should be able to go in and out. and the Lady Apprentice used to also complain about that because people don't realize what we have to go through when we have to use mobility devices. I'm not going to lift my mobility device up. I can't. So what I'm asking is we all work together as a partner. Also, I hope that I'm asking if you have for Port Authority, have a advisory council with members of both states so that we can give you issues we're having with people with disabilities, without the seniors, so we can work together in a positive way to make improvements. And I'm very glad to hear about you fixing the bus terminal. My mom used to take me there because it was an Indian store. Missed the store, but I'm really happy because I do like to go to the Port Authority bus terminal to use it. Thank you.
Thanks, Deborah. Tell Jason we said hello.
I will.
Appreciate it. Yes, yes, and say hello to Chris as well. Christine Pulceno? Christine? Welcome.
Hello and good afternoon. I've been living in the New York, New Jersey area for the last 20 years, moving down from Syracuse, New York, and I've spent the last 15 living in Jersey City. I work as a teacher in Lower Manhattan, and the PATH train is my lifeblood in and out of the city. I don't work a traditional 9 to 5. I'm generally in earlier, whether it's to get to school or to get up to Central Park to ride before I'm able to teach. And I don't end during rush hour either. I typically end in the middle of the day. Like so many other people who have spoken have discussed, we're not asking for a lot, whether it's basic cleanliness, safety, or just trains that run on a schedule that don't have you waiting for 15, 20 minutes or longer midday to get from point A to point B. Since living in Jersey City, when the PATH is running well, it is a dream how quickly you can get from Grove Street to World Trade or up to 33rd Street. But when it goes wrong, it leaves you with those crowded platforms where you feel unsafe, trying to jam onto a train where there's borderline arms and legs sticking out of the door. And it is just a real quality of life issue. It's made me late for appointments. I've had to pay for ride shares, which is an arm and a leg to cross the tunnel, just so that I can make it to like an appointment on time or to get home to pick up my dogs on time. It's stressful, and I think it turns people off from public transit. It's so exciting to hear the enthusiasm behind the new Port Authority, the connections at Newark Airport, and I think I speak for a lot of people on the PATH train where we would love to see that enthusiasm and support as well, just so we can improve our quality of life. And even for people who don't take the train, they depend on us to be on it, so we're not on the road. So keeping the PATH running on time and in conditions that are clean and safe really improves everything for everyone. And hopefully with better transit, we can build better communities and really just help the city and our local areas run more efficiently.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Why he? Again, I'm sorry if I mangled that. Why he? No? Okay. Ross Allen? Ross?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Ross Allen. I'm a resident of Jersey City. I moved there July of last year from Dallas. And part of the reason I moved there was I was excited to give up my car, which I did. And I have a lot of friends that live in Manhattan and Brooklyn, so I thought I would have access to them pretty frequently. And I work from home, so the times that I'm using the train are not typically during rush hour. And I did throw a housewarming last October, and I managed to convince my New York friends to come over to New Jersey, which is no small feat. And they universally had such a bad experience getting home on the PATH train because they all went after 11 p.m. that they not jokingly said they're not coming back, and they have not. But beyond that, my partner, he teaches in Manhattan, and he doesn't work typical hours. He doesn't go 9 a.m., 5 p.m. So even just last week, as I was looking through my texts for this meeting, just last Friday at 2 p.m., he tried to get he was trying to take the 33rd Street line, and it was canceled. The 33rd Street was just canceled at 2 p.m. on Friday afternoon, so he had to take World Trade and transfer. He ended up being about 20 minutes late to work. And that's just a typical expectation at this point for us trying to take the PATH train. So I'm here today to ask for improved weekday off-peak service because we don't live just from the commuting hours. And beyond that, if we want to do things in Manhattan on weeknights, so there's a concert I'm looking at Madison Square Garden in a few weeks, and it happens to be on a Wednesday night, and I know that will likely mean that I'm in Manhattan after 11 p.m. So not only is it just the Madison Square Garden ticket, but I'm likely looking at a $60, $70, $80 ride share just to get home if I want to get home at a reasonable time and be able to work the next day. So I'm here to ask for improved weekday off-peak service for PATH because it really makes a difference in the lives of everyone in Jersey City and Hoboken. And as everyone else has already pointed out, I don't need to tell you, the population continues to grow in Jersey City. The trains are overcrowded, and especially at night when there's 20-minute headways if we're lucky. Each train is overcrowded, the stations are overcrowded, and it just feels unsafe, and it just makes it really not a great way to live. So please again, improve weekday off-peak service, and this fall when you're going to talk about the budgeting process, please prioritize PATH because it makes a major difference for everyone in Jersey City. Thank you.
Thank you. Marielle Van Landingham, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Marielle Van Landingham. I'm a public school teacher in Jersey City, and I live near Journal Square. And like many of my fellow Jersey City residents, I do not own a car and rely on public transit to get around, including the PATH. I'm here today with my fellow folks from Hudson County Complete Streets to share how long headways and unreliable service on the PATH have impacted me and to ask for an increase during off-peak times. My experience yesterday is typical of the poor and unreliable service on the PATH on weekdays outside of rush hour. I had an appointment with my physical therapist in Hoboken at 3 p.m. I left Journal Square at 1 p.m., 2 hours early. Hoping that I'd have a little bit of wiggle room, maybe time to stop at a coffee shop, read my book a little bit before my appointment. I waited for 2 minutes for the train to 33rd Street to depart Journal Square, and a few minutes later I arrived in Newport to switch trains. So far, so good. I stood on the platform at Newport for 10 minutes. No train to Hoboken. Then 20 minutes, a couple of trains to 33rd Street, but still no train to Hoboken. I waited for the train to Hoboken for about 30 minutes before giving up and deciding to walk from Newport to Hoboken on the hottest day of the year. I don't know what happened because the real-time arrival information on the PATH app suggested that 2 different trains to Hoboken should have arrived during that 30-minute time interval, but there were no station announcements and no indication of how much longer it would be until a train to Hoboken materialized. As a teacher on summer break, I had the free time to leave 2 hours early before my appointment. I had the physical ability to walk when things went sideways. But what about shift workers in healthcare or hospitality trying to get to or from work in off-peak hours? What about people who can't walk very far? What about people who can't afford to pay for that emergency Uber or Lyft when the train doesn't come and their appointment time inches ever closer? Let's set aside for the moment that weekend PATH service is a nightmare. I understand there are reasons for that, like track replacement, which are good and important. But off-peak weekday shocking service is shockingly unreliable, leaving behind the people in New York and in New Jersey, construction workers, service industry workers, teachers, deliveristas, nurses, who rely on public transit the most and have the least time and financial flexibility to make different choices. You mentioned earlier, Director, that weekday ridership was still below the 2019 numbers, but we also know that induced demand means that better, more reliable service means that better ridership numbers will increase during weekdays, during off-peak hours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yvonne Garrett Patterson. Yvonne, welcome.
Good afternoon. Yvonne Garrett Patterson from South Orange, New Jersey, representing Republican Action Committee, also the Southport Economic Community Development Corporation under the presidency of Doug Freeman. Welcome, welcome. Mr. Cotton, we thank you so very much. Also, all commissioners, we thank you. I had the good fortune of presenting back in 2011 when Christopher Ward was leaving the executive position. And I made a presentation regarding Newark Airport City and the value of how we can build economically and socially around the airport. Mr. Ward took me to the corner to the side and said, Yvonne, you need to get this book, Aerotropolis by Dr. Casada, because the concept that you're bringing before the board is a sound concept. Subsequently, I was able to meet with Patrick Foy when he was in leadership. He too nurtured the concept of Newark International Airport as a aerotropolis. And so we're still lobbying today to see the full benefit of what we can create in and around Newark International Airport. We thank you for the community access development. But one of the things that we always need to be reminded of when we do development is to look at economic opportunities in around any growth that we do at any of the port points for access, because there's always need for services. If you need to have coffee, if you need to take your clothes to the cleaners, I mean, we need to look at how we can service the community from an economic and service position when we're building. So we do appreciate the work that you all have done. Thank you so much regarding the access point, but we also have to look at how we build economically. That's also going to require for us to look at educational opportunities. One of the things that we're really in need of in Newark International Airport, we need an aviation school. We need an air traffic controller school. We have to invest in our industry, and we need to give the community opportunity to be trained so that we can be a feeder to our industry. So we have to be more responsible to understand that we have to build capacity and sustainability. And so we need to focus on education. In addition to economic growth and development. In addition to that, Newark will be celebrating its 360th anniversary in 2026. And so we'd like to submit to Port Authority leadership a celebration plan for you all to consider how we can engage with Port Authority for a very successful Newark 360th and look at some commemorative initiatives such as the aviation school, ribbon cutting. So we want to look at some practical ways that we can continue to grow this great American city. Last comment, in coming into the PATH terminal today and seeing the Okay, my time is up. We need to put up some American flags downstairs in the terminal as well, because we always have to remain respectful and honorable to our country and our country's values, and so that flag needs to fly as well. So thank you so much. We look forward to submitting proposals for economic and educational opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, and we're looking forward to celebrate the birthday of Newark. Let's do something together. That'd be great. Ureta Aponte Lipsky. Michelle Dixon. Christopher Vasquez. Welcome, Christopher.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Vasquez, like you said. I'm with Hudson County Complete Streets, and I'm here today because of the PATH. I'm a lifelong resident of West Hudson, which includes East Newark, Harrison, and Kearney. And I've been riding the PATH for as long as I remember. As a child, I often accompanied my elderly babysitter to county social services in Jersey City. After my mother suffered an aneurysm when I was 8, PATH became our only connection to essential services. Over a quarter of households in West Hudson don't own a car, my family included. For us, PATH has been more than just a transit line. It's been a lifeline. That lifeline, however, is hard to rely on outside of rush hour. The Newark World Trade Center line only runs every 20 minutes during weekday off-peak hours. I often have to leave home 20 or 30 minutes earlier than I would during peak hours just to arrive on time. If I don't, I risk sprinting to the platform only to face a 20, sometimes 30 or 40-minute wait when there are disruptions. This isn't just inconvenient, it affects our quality of life. It's cost me time with my family, missed appointments, and even job opportunities. I was once late for a job interview because of an unexpected delay. I know I'm not alone, as you've heard. We need better off-peak services. Today I'm asking the Port Authority to prioritize improving weekday off-peak PATH service, especially as you enter the budget process this fall. Just the modest increase in frequency to 15, 12, or even 10 minutes would make a huge difference for people like me, and for thousands of West Hudson residents who rely on PATH for more than a 9 to 5 commute. And if that's not possible right now due to other ongoing projects, we'd appreciate a clear commitment, both verbal and in the budget, with a timeline for when we can expect improvements. I'm not here asking for a lot. Any step toward more frequent, reliable off-peak service is a step in the right direction. PATH should be a system that works for all of us, all of the time, not just during rush hour. Thank you for your time.
Thank
and
you.
for your continued investment in our communities.
Thank you very much. Bathsheba Gross? Bathsheba, okay. Zara Hayden? Zara, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Zara Hayden. I live in Jersey City and I work in Jersey City and Manhattan. I'm a regular, frequent PATH train user, and I'm also here due to extreme frustration with the infrequent train service. There are other issues, but that is my primary concern. Our off-peak PATH service is wildly inadequate and doesn't meet the needs of this densely populated, urban, busy environment. It's the primary transport option for many people, including myself. I moved here rather than Los Angeles to use the public transport system, so it's very disturbing that it runs so badly for us all. I wait often for the train on the platform. Last weekend, I spent maybe 2 hours waiting on various platforms, both MTA and PATH. It is an incredible waste of time. It's exhausting. I think often of people who are less able, who are older, who are nurses. I really wish there were more seats, more frequent trains for them. I also avoid going out at night because I can't get a train in a good time. My main desire is better off-peak weekend and evening service, but I'm here to ask for more frequent weekday off-peak service today. I'm also proud to live here in New York, New Jersey, and I wish that PATH was representative of the incredible metropolis that this area is. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Jim, is that the last of the live speakers?
That is the last. We have one video speaker, and then Jordan Matisse, I believe, and then we've got two written statements, David Tom and Amelia Knight, both of who left a statement on PATH service, and it's with the commissioners.
Great, so we have those two written, and and then let's hear the video, and then we'll be finished with the public portion. Can we play the video, please?
Hi, my name is Jordan Matisse, and I'm a PATH rider who lives in Jersey City Heights. Off-peak PATH service is broken, and riders are the ones paying for it. I've had to spend thousands of dollars over time on ride shares just to get where I need to go, because trains are infrequent, the light rail isn't coordinated, and the VIA system can't be trusted. This isn't rare, it's routine, and it's unacceptable. We're not asking for luxury, we're asking for basic, functional service. Trains that run often enough to count on, transfers that don't require a sprint, a system that respects our time and doesn't drain our wallets. This isn't a minor inconvenience, it's unsustainable, it's exhausting, and it's costing real people time, money, and quality of life every single day. In one of the most expensive cities in the country, public transit should be dependable, not a gamble, not a luxury, not an afterthought. We need an off-peak service that actually works, and we need it now. The Path Forward plan is years away. Riders need solutions now. We're calling on the Port Authority to take 3 immediate steps: improve weekday off-peak service, release the results of recent rider surveys, and to prioritize PATH funding in this year's budget. This is a reasonable request. We want to work with you toward a better system, one that supports working people, families, and a thriving region. Thank you for listening.
All righty, we'll now proceed with the voting items for today's consideration. Each of the respective committee chairs will provide a brief report prior to each of the matters being considered. As chair of the Committee on Operations, I will now present one item under the committee's purview. That item, as presented by the committee earlier today, authorizes a contract with the Boingo Wireless to provide comprehensive wireless, cellular, and Wi-Fi services at Port Authority facilities. Prior to making a motion, do we have any recusals, Jim?
There are no recusals.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Roll call. Second?
Second.
Got it. Roll
Chairman
call.
O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Yes. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioners Eve, Helmy, McCabe, and Richardson have filed their affirmative vote.
Great. All the votes are in order. This item's been approved. Vice Chair is Chair of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, Asset Management, will now provide his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Chair of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, I will now report on 3 items under the committee's purview. The first item would authorize a program at John F. Kennedy International Airport for electrical upgrades to accommodate near-term demand at the facility at a total program cost of $138 million. Prior to making this motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any commissioner recusals.
There are no recusals.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have questions or comments on this item? I now request a motion on this item.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. I now request the Corporate Secretary to call the roll for voting on the item as the votes.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Yes. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioners Eve, Helmy, McCabe, and Richardson have filed their affirmative vote.
Thank you. The next item authorizes $27 million for planning and design work for the future rehabilitation of various runways and taxiways, roadways, and their structural components across the Port Authority's 5 airports. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any commissioner recusals.
There are no recusals.
Do any commissioners have questions or comments on this item? I now request a motion on this item.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I now request the Corporate Secretary to call the roll for voting on the item.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Yes. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioners Eve, Fine, McCabe, and Richardson, Eve, Helmy, McCabe, and Richardson have filed their affirmative votes.
Thank you. As the votes are in order, this item is approved. The last item, as presented earlier by our Chief of Major Capital Projects, reauthorizes a project in the amount of $4.8 billion for the first phase of the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Program and authorizes the award of general construction contract to Tudor Perini Corporation. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any commissioner recusals.
There are none.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have questions or comments on this item? I now request a motion on this item.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I now request the Corporate Secretary to call the roll for voting on this transformative item.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher? Yes. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioners Eve, Helmy, McCabe, and Richardson have filed their affirmative vote.
As the votes are in order, this historic item is approved. Mr. Chairman, I turn it back to you.
Job well done. Thank you, Vice Chair. Yeah, at this time, we're going to move to the committee members on the Audit Committee, and we ask if Commissioner Bollwage will provide a report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a member of the Audit Committee, I would like to recommend a resolution authorizing the retention of the agency's independent auditors. This will be a vote of the Audit Committee members only. And by way of background, KPMG LLP was retained in 2019 as the independent auditors on the basis of a competitive solicitation selection process. The retentions provided that the subject to annual retention as determined by the Audit Committee, such services may be extended to 2025 as determined by the Audit Committee. The committee, consistent with its responsibilities under the bylaws and its committee charter, and after due review of KPMG's qualifications and performance to date, has determined to retain KPMG as independent auditors for the audit for the year ending December 31st, 2025. I also wish to note
that for the 2025 audit engagement, certain non-financial statement-based services, including contractually required audit services, a competitive process will be conducted with the goal of providing opportunities for minority and women-owned firms. Do any commissioners have any comments? Prior to make a motion on this item, I would ask the corporate secretary to note any committee members' recusals on this matter.
There are no recusals.
I now request a motion from a committee member who is not recused on this motion.
Commissioner Fisher.
A second? I can second it, right?
Second it.
I'm second. And now I request the corporate secretary to call the roll of committee members present for voting on this item.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve and McCabe have filed their affirmative votes.
As the votes are in order, this item is approved. Turn it back to Chairman O'Toole.
Thank you very much. There being no further business, we move to adjourn. We'll see everybody in July. Congratulations, Lily and company. Extraordinary day. See everybody in July.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.